anti-heroic land of pitfalls and profit. It is the spaghetti fantasy RPG Brancalonia from Italian publisher Acheron. Today we have Max Castellani on the show to talk about Brancalonia, which is on Kickstarter right now. If you're interested in this, I'm going to put the link in the description of this video, and I'm going to tell you to check out the Kickstarter. Even download the Quick Start. It's free, and it's a 44-page booklet of just beautiful art, and there's so much game in that 44 pages. Definitely download it and give it a try. Max, thanks for coming on the show yet again.
Thank you for having me. It's been quite a while, right? But it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
The world's kind of a scary place. How are you and your family? Is everybody doing okay?
We're doing okay. The situation here is getting a bit better, and we hope it's gonna be better and better soon, because and you can't see my hair, but you will notice that if I didn't have these headphones. But not being able to really going out for like a month and a half is pretty harsh with kids.
Yep, I hear you there.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So, but we're good.
But you've been keeping busy with this Kickstarter and this project with Acheron Books. Tell us a little bit about it. Tell us what is it? What does it all entail?
Acheron Books is an independent Italian book publisher that's has always worked mainly with game books and novels, but has decided recently to try to put a part of their great work with narratives and novels into an RPGs. So they have a whole line of products for this spaghetti fantasy environment and world, and it was a successful product in Italy, and so they thought, well, why don't everybody? Some people was kind of asking, why don't you make a game out of it? Not just a game book, but a role-playing game. Because sure. It's a cool era. They thought about it. But they basically didn't know where to go with this game, and they finally decided to try with the 5th edition. So to make an adaptation for the 5th edition of D&D. And basically, it's working. I think I couldn't say it any better, because the Kickstarter is going very good. They thought about why don't we try to do something really Italianish for the whole world, for the whole community of role-playing games. So we're not trying to be what we're not, and we're trying to propose to the public a game that kind of communicates that Italian culture that is probably less known outside the country.
Sure.
And I think that's being appreciated. There's this whole kind of comedy of the 70s cinema, Italian cinema, mm-hmm. and which kind of inspires this game. And so some novels, some famous Italian novels, etc. So like Pinocchio, mm-hmm. Like it's one of them. It's Brancaleone, which is giving the name Brancalonia to the game, which is a famous movie, and so on.
So it's going to use the 5e rule set.
Yeah.
Are folks going to have everything that they need in this core rulebook to play, yeah. Or is it something that they're going to have that they're going to need something else to download and
you will have to know the basic D&D rules, or download the official and the free OGL SRD of the Wizard of the Coast company. With that and the book, you're ready to go. It's pretty easy, of course. The 5th edition is a bit easier than other editions, so it's pretty easy game. You're a plug and play game almost. Okay. And Brancalonia, its strength, it's the lore. Probably is the lore, because it's very well explained, very well written. Of course, Acheron is a book publisher. All the writers of the book are book writers. So it
Sure.
will be a very good product under that point of view. And for this product, since we've hit a very high goal right now, and we're going stronger and stronger, we will have translation and editor mother tongue, English mother tongue, so that even the translation process will be done by somebody that could probably understand what the Italian language is trying to do with the lore,
Sure.
and translate it correctly because that's something that's pretty peculiar of the Italian version of the game, and it will be important to translate it correctly and with a real sense, with a real understanding in the English language.
So is the English translation is that going to coincide with the Italian publication, or is it going to come
Yeah,
afterwards, or are they going to
no,
both go at the
no.
same time?
What Acheron wants to do is publish and deliver at the same time Italian version and the English version. The team is pretty big. It's pretty solid. The budget is there to do great things.
How did you get involved with Acheron?
Yeah. So of course, the Italian RPGs community is not that large. Okay. So
Okay.
publishers, we're quite a lot, but not so many. So we kind of know each other. Everybody knows everybody and stuff. So when Mauro Longo, which is the project manager, one of the writers, one of the creators of the whole Brancalonia, let's say, brand, have had to put up a role-playing game. He published its own role-playing games, pretty famous in Italy. Okay, so
Nice.
he's not one that does not know how to do it, but he wasn't really familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. So other than that, he wasn't really familiar with the D&D community.
Okay.
So he was looking for somebody that was kind of a D&D lover and was a D&D player, and and talking with him during a convention, a comic convention, comics and games convention. He was talking to us about this project, and me and Andrea from Epic Party, we said, well, we play D&D actually, and we are thinking about doing something for the GMS Guild and so on. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And so it was. He presented us the project. We kind of worked for the adaptation rules, so all the subclasses that had to fit in the lore, so the Brancalonia world. And of course, there are some additional rules to manage, for example, brawls, because in Brancalonia you're going to play not really adventurers. You said it in the overture. You said anti-heroic. Your characters are called knaves in the game. But you're not a bad guy. You've done some bad, but just because in medieval times you were a noble, you were a rich man, or else you probably had to do something dirty to survive, in order to survive. But one of the iconic character is a paladin. He's got some bad reputations here and there because he stole a pig maybe at a fair or something like that, but he was trying probably to survive, or being a Robin Hood. That's the style. We don't want a game that, saying knaves, it's not saying bad guys, and not say evil characters. It's saying those scallywags with a golden heart or something like that.
I like it. Yep, I dig it.
And of course, one of the things that you don't want to happen in a setting like that is having to do some bad in order to survive to people who maybe don't really deserve that bad.
Right.
So instead of pulling out a sword, you just slap him. So,
Okay.
there's a whole section of the rules, which is the rules of brawling, that allows your characters to have a sort of wrestling fight, and then there are some special rules for equipment,
Okay.
because it's a real poor setting. It's a low magic setting,
Right.
so we have swords that aren't really working. Maybe they're not well coded. We have arrows that break in the middle of the fly or something like that. These are all rules that kind of wants to give the perspective of a very funny, take it easy type of game, and you're probably going to fail most of the times, but at the end of the day, you will probably be alive,
Right.
although maybe with some scars and stuff, and you won't probably have the treasure you've been looking for all the whole adventure.
So let's talk a little bit about the core rulebook. It looks like this
Yeah.
project mostly is 2 books, or it's
Yes.
mostly going to be 2 books. You've
Yes.
got the core rulebook, which looks like it's pretty much done.
Pretty much done. Yes.
They've said it's
Oh,
192 pages.
exactly. It's going to be most of it is going to be lore and NPCs and factions, and there is a campaign, a full campaign. There are, of course, all the additional rules like brawling that we're talking about. There are some,
Hmm.
because we're talking about a game where here and there you will find yourself inside taverns and inns. There will be a pretty long list of tavern games that
Nice.
you will play. Like there are two of them are already in the Quickstarter.
This this book also is going to have, was it 5 new player races or
Yes,
classes?
yes,
And 12 new subclasses.
exactly. The 5 races are not all, no, not all of them. There's the Sylvan, the Morgan, the marionette, because we're going to have marionettes like Pinocchio
I love it.
as a race, and the okay, so that's 4 of them classes are inside the Quickstarter already,
Hmm.
and then there's 2 humans, because there's 6 player characters playable in the. And the other new races are going to be inside the core book, and 6 of the subclasses are inside the Quickstarter to be tried out
Nice.
while we all wait for the product, and the other 6 are going to be in the core book. But then there's going to be more, because we're unlocking like everything. We're running out
Yeah.
of stretch goals. All of this additional material, adventures, subclasses, magic items, what's this, games, and I don't know. Everything that we're going to unlock is going to be put inside the second book,
Right.
which is the Macaronicon. Yeah, and which is, even here is the translation of we we often, there's a way of saying here in Italy, when an Italian try to speak English, but he does it really poorly.
Okay.
We said inglese macaronico, so it's macaronic English, like,
All right.
so that's the Macaronicon. So all
All right.
the,
All right. I get
the
it. I love it even more now.
okay. Okay, so that's why we chose that name, and it's going to have inside all the material that we're going to unlock. So it's
Nice.
getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful game, and I think
Yeah,
it's something that's you found a part that hasn't been addressed, and it's kind of, I always
exactly.
love it when publishers or designers find, like, okay, we have this community, what else can we do in this, and that folks might want to play in, and boom, I saw this and I was like, wow,
Yeah,
this is a really
yeah.
cool idea.
Our goal is to give this kind of fantasy, this spaghetti fantasy, to the world. To make it a thing in the world, because
Sure.
we spaghetti fantasy is what a spaghetti western was for real western. So there was this there is this whole fantasy worlds out there. Tons of games have fantastic, amazing, outstanding fantasy worlds. But we wanted to put out something that was really speaking Italian.
You also have a GM screen, which
Yep.
looks beautiful. Again, takes the art that is in the core book and makes a beautiful screen. And then on the back of it, you're gonna have like summary of rules
Of
and roll
course.
tables. I just think that you're gonna have so much content for this on launch, which is great. You've
Yeah.
got what else? What else did I don't have the Kickstarter right in front of me, but
There's
I
the
know there's a map, there's a poster, there's an art book, which again I love. Like this is another thing that I love
yeah,
about
uh,
RPGs,
yeah,
with especially when they have some really great
yeah,
art. Like I love having a book that just showcases the art in it, just
exactly,
because even if folks aren't RPG players, you can kind of show them the art book and kind of get them interested in the setting, and then
exactly.
maybe you can kind of ease them into getting interested into playing RPGs that way.
Yeah,
Who's the artist that's doing all the work for this book?
yeah,
Because I think we should acknowledge them because they're just doing a
yeah.
fantastic
So,
job.
so the great map, beautiful map of the reverse Italy is by Fabio Porfidia, which is a pretty well-known artist in Italy, but also outside Italy because he's working on international projects. And there is Lorenzo Nuti for the Macaronicon cover, the core book cover, and all the art that really is going to be put inside the book. And he's the main artist and is acknowledged on the Kickstarter, by the way. So you can find
Nice.
their names on the Kickstarter page.
Let's talk a little bit
Yep.
about the pledge levels, especially we don't have to cover them all, but we'll talk about a few of them. I think it's worth noting that you can back this at. I'm going to give U.S. prices because I know
Of
that
course,
that's probably a large portion of our audience
I will try
is
to follow.
the U.S. But you can get the PDFs of both the books for $19, which
Yep.
is I think a great deal because you're basically paying less than $10 for each book, which you know.
Yep.
And I know that during this time with everything that's going on, we're all trying to
Exactly.
keep our budgets in check, and it's definitely a good viable way of supporting the project and still
Yeah,
getting.
but by the way, because
Mhm.
some people are asking about it, the shipping. We have an international partner for the shippings.
Oh,
So shippings even to USA are going to be around $10.
well,
Not
that's
not
not
really
bad.
much more than that. So that's a great thing that I wanted to put out because
Sure.
there's of course when you have to deliver ship stuff across an ocean is going to be costly, and I know it because sometimes the bag stuff that's going from there, that's coming from there. But we have an international partner, so we're set for that, and you don't have to worry about $30 expenses for shippings or stuff. And
Nice. And if folks want to get the core book and the PDF, it's $43.
yep,
So that's the first option. I'm going to tell folks that the the best bang for your buck, if you can afford it right now, is the $86 pledge, which gives you both both books. One's hardcover. I believe the Macaronicon is in softcover
for now,
for
yes,
now. Okay.
now
All right.
for
All right.
now.
Might be a little teaser for what's coming later.
Yeah,
Um, you get the GM screen, you get
yeah,
all the PDFs, you get the art book, you get the map, and you get this daily Jinx
yeah.
booklet. What is that all about, Max?
The Daily Jinx is something that is going to have exclusive contents for players, adventure hooks, and maybe some special equipment, something like that.
Okay.
It's gonna be 16 pages, and it's like on the exterior, it's like it was the newspaper of the kingdom. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's the Daily Jinx, and but of course, inside there are some probably short stories or adventure hooks and special items, and some little thing that who is going to pledge that much is going to have exclusively.
I'm going to tell folks that if you are interested in this game at all, go check out the Kickstarter in the link below. Check out the quick starter, download it, and then Max, we're gonna have you on and run a session here on the show in a few days.
We will. I'm pretty excited about it, and we are thinking about a cool adventure that will deliver all those spaghetti fantasy thing that I've been talking about to the American audience.
I'm excited. I'm gonna look forward to it. We've got a few players already lined up, and we'll be announcing those once we go live here in a few days with that actual play of Brancalonia. Did I say that right?
Right.
You know, I know my English translation or my English accent is not always.
No, in Italian it's Brancalonia, but with the accent, of course, it's Brancalonia. It's fine.
Go check it out. If this is the first time you've encountered our show, thank you so much for tuning in. If you found any value in this, please hit the like button down below, and also hit that subscribe button, and you'll be notified every single time we go live or we upload content. And we really appreciate our YouTube community here at VCG. So thank you so much for being a part of it. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this session. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Victory Condition Gaming, because winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Bye now.